Whittaker. You qualified for the Olympic trials, NCAAs. You were at Mount DeSales. You had a great career there. So how were the trials for you? You were sitting at number 29 for a long time. Then you got the last minute entry. So how did all that work out for you? How do you feel about things?
Yeah. I mean, obviously super exciting. I couldn't imagine kind of where my season started to be ending at Olympic trials. So that was a great experience in general. I remember all my coaches, my parents, like me, just staring at the 29th place, just waiting for that one person to scratch to get in for 28th. And then as soon as they did, I just remember kept counting just to make sure I was 28th. It was a super exciting experience. I was actually up in Oregon already, and I stayed in Oregon because it was only about a week and a half from NCAAs to the trials race. So I was just kind of hanging out in Oregon, just kind of waiting and hoping to get in. So that was pretty funny as well.
Okay. How do you like Oregon? How do you like Hayward Field?
Yeah, I mean, Hayward Field is definitely special. Like it's not the crowds. I mean, even in a COVID year, the crowds were crazy, and it's just you do get this kind of adrenaline, and it's got that like really special atmosphere. That was super special. And then Oregon's great. It's super small town, but I loved it. It has a lot of very friendly people, and just altogether a great experience.
Okay. So when did you qualify for NCAAs, and when did qualifying for trials become a realistic thing, or like something you could really go towards?
Yeah, so I qualified. There was a East Regionals preliminary meet that I went to in Florida, Jacksonville, Florida, and that was basically you had to be top 48 in your region, which was for me East Region. And I competed in the 400. There was a prelims and finals, and I basically had to get top 12 to qualify for nationals, which would be about 3-4 weeks later. I want to say that was the middle of May, maybe end of May, if I remember correctly. Basically I just had to get in the top 12. I ended up getting 10th, and that's when I ran my PR, 51.92. So that was a super exciting race and just a super fun experience as well.
What was last year like? So obviously COVID for a lot of people. You had a challenging season. How did you make it through the season, and how did you adjust your training based on COVID and any changes in racing or anything like that?
Yeah, that's a really good question. We definitely faced, especially being part of the Ivy League, which was extremely cautious in terms of COVID. I faced a lot of obstacles. I wasn't able to be on campus my first semester, so I was at home training by myself, which was, as you can imagine, super challenging, getting workouts from my coach, but not actually be coached by her, really, which was definitely a leap of faith and just a very trusting process. And then, of course, I was able to go to campus the second semester. Sadly, we didn't get an indoor season, which was also super hard, especially because all other collegiate, non-Ivy collegiate athletes were actually competing, so that was kind of hard to see because I was obviously really ready to get back in there. But starting February, I was able to start working with my coach, which was this was actually a new coach for me too. My old coach actually transferred to another school. So it was completely new. We didn't really know each other very well. I'm so lucky that, we just worked really well together and just kind of hit the ground running, because obviously starting a season in February starting working out in February with a coach is not ideal. You want to start in the fall. So that was obviously pretty hard. But I'm just grateful that we were given even the opportunity to go to regionals. There was actually for a second there, we weren't sure we were going to be able to go. We didn't really have the go from the Ivy League, so we were just kind of blindly training, waiting for maybe the go-ahead. So that was also a super kind of trusting experience, and just kind of, well, hopefully it works out, but I'm going to train so hard in case it does. So.
Okay, well, that's tough. You made it through.
Yes.
So as a 400-meter runner, and I know it sounds like you had some, coaching changes, or maybe, some just changes in how you do your own training, but what do you like to do as a 400-meter runner? What kind of workouts do you like? What kind of style of workouts? What style of training do you like? And is there maybe a workout where you dread and don't want to go to practice for?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I am actually a huge Wednesday workout. That's usually the toughest, the cardio workout of the week. I love those workouts, which everyone seems to hate me on my team for loving them. But no, not hate, of course. But they're like, how do you love them? But right. I just really like to get after it. It's something that I really love to do. So those typically might be like, I think we started off the season February doing like 300s and then like minute rest 150s, like maybe I think 4 to 6 times through. Not super fast times in the beginning. I think one of my also favorite workouts is to kind of get after and do some 200s at a pretty decent pace, like maybe 25 to 27, and to kind of keep trying to hit those with a good amount of rest. I also love, my coach was giving me, I think right before nationals, we were doing a lot of like 350, like 400 modeling workouts, because just kind of knowing how to run the 400 right. Kind of effort-wise, really up there. So those were pretty challenging workouts, but also something that I liked and allowed me to feel more comfortable with the 400. I would say we did a lot of speed work. My coach is really adamant about speed work, which is not one of my strong suits, honestly. I'm definitely a stronger kind of, will kind of just muscle my way through kind of a workout slash race, which is not necessarily the best thing to do. So I did a lot of speed workouts, which are just, 50s, 60s, 30s, like anything, just working on the push and the dry phase. So those were super important as well. I wouldn't say I have like a least favorite workout. Speed workouts, when I'm not feeling great, are super challenging and mentally for me, because I know that there's a lot that I can change in terms of how I, technically how I run. So I think those can be a little bit frustrating for me sometimes, because I just want to, do what I just want to run perfectly, which of course is not something that's going to happen easily / even happen at all, honestly. But yeah, so those are kind of my workouts.
Okay. What's your strategy for the 400?
Yeah, so honestly for me, the biggest thing is that I just need to get out fast. So I have struggled in the past with kind of waiting and kind of wanting to just like push the end. So my coach was really adamant about me getting out and running a good solid 24-second first 200. So that's definitely always at the forefront of my mind. After that, I'm usually basically. So I get out the first 150, and then for the next 100, I am supposed to maintain like my cadence, but I'm supposed to kind of relax a little bit, which is something that I've also struggled with, because like keeping the cadence up but also trying to relax to maintain a little bit for the end is difficult. But then with a 150 to go is when it's just honestly start to build 50 by 50 by 50. I've tried to go too early with the 50, and so me and my coach, we learned to kind of drag that like chase out a little bit more. So that's how I run a 400. Yeah. Super exciting.
Do you have a preferred lane? Does it matter if it's 1 or 8? Like, do seeing people make a difference?
That's a good question. I do not personally. So I don't like being in lane 1, because I do feel like you can easily get out of the race if you don't get out hard enough, which, like I said, is a struggle. And just you're kind of put outside of the race already. I also don't like lane 8, because I don't like to not see my competitors. That's something I'm trying to be more comfortable with. At practice, I'll be like, all right, I'm going to go in lane 8 so I can practice not seeing anyone. So that's something that I practice a lot too. So I think personally, I do like to be more inside than outside. So I'd say like I like lane 3, and an 8-lane track is probably my like perfect lane. I would like.
So you had a great year, obviously. How does this set you up for the future? What are you looking forward to? Do you have any goals? Have your goals changed based on qualifying for the trials?
Yeah, definitely. I think that just having that little taste of the trials has just kind of excited me, and it's made me want to come back and to perform at a high level, like constantly, and also to, I think, like to do well at that high. Like obviously, it's great to be at that high level, but I want to be very competitive at that high level. So that's something that I'm very excited to get back to school in the fall, and work really hard for the fall training, and work on my technique is a big thing, because that is one of my, like I said, one of the faults that I have, or weaknesses I want to say, that I would like to, kind of figure out how to run correctly. So that's something that's super huge for me. But yeah, I mean, obviously, right now, long-term goal is 2024 Olympics, so and it falls perfectly after my senior year, so it's going to be a nice kind of uphill,
Like transition?
Yeah, okay. Good, yeah, exactly, to that. So yeah,
Okay.
the goals.
All right. And last thing, do you have any words of advice for all the fans of Bella out there, all the little Bellas who want to be future 400 runners?
Yeah, I think my biggest advice for 400 runners is that it's such a tough race. I think that you have to be so I'm forgetting the word. But you have to know that you're going to hurt, and you have to like be okay with that. I think the first thing that I always try to tell myself is you have to accept the fact that it's going to hurt, and then go from there and then attack it and always be aggressive. And never to count yourself short. I think that a lot of times in my past career in running, I've been very afraid of the competition that's surrounding me, because it's usually pretty fast people, but then I remember that I'm also there and that I can compete alongside these people. So I think that just never count yourself short, for sure, is a big piece of advice I'd give.
Okay, awesome. All right, well, thank you so much, Bella.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, best of luck next year, and
Thank you.
certainly we'll be looking out for you for 2024.